So I am here in Huron, South Dakota. This is a population of 12,000 or so in this little community, and I gotta say, South Dakota has wind. I mean, crazy wind. By the time I showed up here yesterday, it was 21 miles per hour. Now maybe for some of y'all that doesn't sound like a lot. When you're on a motorcycle and you got this big old guitar in the back like a sail, it's a lot. So it was rough getting here, but I got here and went to my hostess's house, and toward the evening I noticed that my motorcycle, which I just gotten a oil change on, had a leak. It was leaking gasoline right out of the little fuel cock there. So looked around for a few places, and actually my host went and talked to the neighbor who advised me on a couple of places, and the guy who was the big guy in town, he got COVID, and so it's really like affected his short-term memory and all that. Anyhow, I finally found a place to go. My host had made me an amazing breakfast, pannekuchen, I think is what it's called, pannekuchen. Anyway, it's this like pastry dish that they make up here. It's like Norwegian or something, but oh my God, it was so good. Anyway, so then I went to the first motorsports shop, and they don't actually work on motorcycles. So I don't know what kind of motorsports shop doesn't work on motorcycles, but apparently that kind does. So they only work on like jet skis and things like that. So I went to the Huron Bike and Boats place, and these folks were awesome. I mean, they were just so fantastic. So I just had to do a video just pretty much about them, because first it was Mallory, and I guess maybe the dad was there, an older guy, bald with a mustache. But as soon as I walked in the door, they're like, "How can I help?" And didn't even seem to register that I was from out of town. They were just really wanting to help, and they had a whole garage full of bikes they're already working on, but they were really cool about just jumping right on mine, helping me fix my leak. And so right as I'm going to get my bike to bring it into the garage, the owner, Mike, shows up, and he's like, "Are you looking for me?" And again, just super willing to help. And it's like, this is like what small town America is about. This is what we love about small town America. Everybody here is just really super friendly and kind and helpful and courteous. So Mike gets a little part, and it's like a little bitty part, like that big, that he needs, and he doesn't have one. So he goes to the first guy who I mentioned who had COVID, because he's not like really operating anymore, but he's still got his space. So he goes over there to get this extra part. Comes back, replaces it, all that, but it's still leaking, and so there's still another little thing he's got to replace. So he sends Mallory to go to find it, and so he's like, "Why don't you just take Steve with you?" And so I go with Mallory, and we just, she's telling me all about her town and how she and Mike met, and they have lived like just a couple towns apart for like their whole lives, and they just met like earlier this year, fell in love, got married, and now they're fixing motorcycles together, and it's just a great story. And so I was like so honored to be a part of that. And then she took me to this place, the first place that was recommended with the dude, and I mean, so much stuff. He's got a whole like motorcycle graveyard out back, and just so many little things, but he's got it somewhat organized. And even though he's lost some of his short-term memory because of the COVID, he's still alive. He's still got his stuff going on. So we go back to the shop, and they didn't have the part they needed, so we stopped by the Napa store, and everybody knows everybody, and they got some sealant. And while they were fixing that, I went and got some really good Mexican food at one of the Mexican places. And another thing about Huron here, like I said, it's a 12,000 population, and a few years ago the Lutheran League started moving in a lot of immigrants, and so now you have this large influx of people from Asian countries and Hispanic countries, and so you have more and more little shops that cater to those populations. And of course the older folk aren't quite getting it, but the younger folk like Mike and Mallory are like totally open to it. This is life, this is culture, and this is the way that we grow, and we invite new people into our community from different walks of life. So I was able to enjoy some really good Mexican food, and when I got finished, went over there, they were just finishing on my bike, and yeah, just great. So if you're ever in Huron, South Dakota and your motorcycle has a little problem, definitely go to Huron Bike and Boat. Mike and Mallory will help you out a lot. Great folk. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day as much as I can here. It's now a little after noon. It's about a little after 1 o'clock actually, and it's just past about 90 degrees. It's supposed to get about 98 today, over 100 tomorrow. So the heat is bad, but I mean, I'm wearing a shirt, kind of thick shirt, not the best choice, and jeans, and it's still not as bad as Sarasota would be right now if it were the same temperature. So I'm still happy with it, and I'm enjoying this beautiful city and the people that are in it, and that's about that. So tomorrow I'm heading to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. From there I go to Nebraska. But this is pretty much the furthest away I'm going to get from Sarasota on this trip. I'm 1,850 miles away, and from here I'm kind of heading home. So if you miss me, I'll be coming home. If you don't, you're probably not watching this anyway, so shine ya. See ya.